Hook opening speech, she mopped the floors in silence. While executives walked past in polished shoes, no one knew her name, no one asked, until one kind boss noticed her tears. And that moment changed everything. Welcome to Everyday Grace, where one simple act of compassion can light up an entire life. If you've ever doubted that kindness still exists, stay till the end, because this story might just change you too. Full story. Late at night, long after most workers had gone home, Maria pushed her cleaning cart down the hallway of Ravenwood Corporate Towers. The echo of her footsteps on marble tiles was the only company she had. She had worked as a janitor for nearly 7 years, not because she lacked ambition, but because life hadn't given her many choices. Her husband had left when her youngest was only 2. No warning, no goodbye. Just a note and an empty bank account. Maria had 2 daughters, Anaya and Lily. Every night she whispered promises into their sleeping ears. Mama's gonna make it better. I promise. By day she worked part-time at a diner. By night she scrubbed toilets and vacuumed offices. Her back ached, her hands cracked from chemicals. But she never complained. What else could she do? Her girls needed food, rent was due, school. Shoes weren't cheap, and no one at work really saw her. She was just the cleaning lady, invisible, until one Tuesday night. As Maria cleaned the glass doors of the 14th floor, a voice startled her. "You're always here so late." She turned quickly. A tall man in a navy blue suit stood holding a briefcase. He looked kind, but cautious. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," she stammered, adjusting her gloves. "I didn't mean to disturb." No. "You're not disturbing," he said gently. "I'm Michael. I run the HR department here. I've seen you around, always working hard." She nodded, unsure how to respond. No one had ever stopped to talk to her before. "Do you have a second?" he asked. Maria hesitated, glancing at her watch. She still had 3 floors to go before midnight, but something in his tone made her say, "Okay." He walked with her to the break room, made her tea, sat across from her. And for the first time in years, Maria told someone her truth, her struggles, her dreams, her daughters. Michael listened, not out of pity, but out of respect. When she finished, he smiled softly. "Maria, you ever consider applying for something inside this office?" She blinked. "I didn't finish school. I don't have fancy skills. I just clean." "No," he said. "You survive. You show up. You work harder than most people I know. That matters." The next week, Maria found a sealed envelope taped to her cart. Inside was an interview invitation from Ravenwood's HR department. Michael had submitted her name for a junior administrative role, part-time to start. Training provided. She almost cried right there in the hallway, but she didn't tell her daughters, not yet, not until she knew it was real the day of the interview. She wore the only formal outfit she owned, a faded blazer from a thrift store. Nervous, hands shaking, she walked into the same room where she used to mop the floors. Michael wasn't on the panel. He didn't want to influence the result, but he waited outside the whole time. She stuttered at first, forgot a few words, but when they asked, "Why do you want this job?" she looked them in the eye and said, "I want my daughters to grow up proud of me. I want them to know that hard work does matter, and I want to give them a life where they don't have to choose between food and school." The room fell silent, and then one of the managers said quietly, "I think we've heard enough. Thank you, Maria." 3 days later, she got the job. Maria cried in the break room when she read the letter. Michael was there. So were 2 of the ladies from HR. They clapped. Someone brought cake. It was the first time in years she had been celebrated. She told her daughters that night at dinner. Anaya hugged her with all her strength. Lily, just 7, said, "So you don't have to clean toilets anymore, Mama?" Maria smiled. "I'll still clean, just a different kind of work now." Over the next year, Maria learned computers, took online courses, filed reports, scheduled meetings, managed front desks. She thrived. Every morning, she wore a badge. Every afternoon, she sat in a real office, and every evening she went home to her girls, not smelling of bleach, but of hope. One Christmas, she was invited to the company's annual gala. She wore a deep blue dress borrowed from a friend. As she stepped into the ballroom, Someone tapped the mic. It was Michael. I'd like to honor someone tonight. He said, she used to clean our offices. Now. She helps run them. She reminded me that titles don't define worth, character does. Maria, can you join me on stage? The whole room clapped. Maria cried. And for the first time in her life, she felt seen. Not as a cleaner, not as a struggling mother, but as a woman of strength. Ending message. Maria now mentors young women starting out in entry-level roles. She volunteers every month at a shelter, and her daughters. Anaya wants to be a social worker. Lily dreams of becoming a CEO, all because one kind boss took the time to see her. So, if you ever get the chance to lift someone up, do it, because sometimes the smallest door you open for someone else becomes the path that leads them home. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Everyday Grace, and share it with someone who believes in second chances, because kindness isn't just an act, it's a chain reaction.